Hey there, mamas! You are listening to Release Your Inner Power podcast, where we talk about having both me time and being the best mom, sharing stories, encouragement, and tips for taking the steps to release that inner power and that mom guilt. I'm your host, Shauna B. Here we go. One quick thing before we get started. I will be doing a drawing for a fun gift each month. Here are 3 ways to enter. You can email me to share your juicy takeaways, topic ideas you want to hear, or share a story. Share this podcast on social media and tag me with what episode you listened to and what you learned or loved about it. And if you leave a review, you will get 2 entries into the drawing. I will announce the winner the last week of each month. Okay, let's get started. This featured mama is a wife, mama too, and a working mom. She loves being active, wine tasting, and more with family and friends. She's here to share tips about time, along with overcoming some social norms. Here is my friend, Krista. Hey there, Krista. Welcome. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. The weather in the Pacific Northwest in our area has just been so beautiful lately. So I've gotten out.
It's gone into September really well. I'm really liking it.
Yeah, I mean, you do get that little crisp feeling in the air that fall is here, but it's still beautiful and sunny, and that always helps the mood.
Oh, yes. Yes, I love it. Well, I'm excited you're here, and I'm excited to hear your story.
Yeah,
so tell me a little bit about you and your story and who is Krista?
Yeah, who am I? That's always a very tough question, right? Because we change, right? As we age, and even who I am today is different than who I was a year ago. But in general, I am a mom. That's one title I have, and I am a wife. I am a working mom. I'm currently a real estate agent, but I went to school to be a teacher. So I was a teacher before I was in real estate for close to 20 years. And I still call myself a teacher because there's a lot to real estate that involves educating people and counseling people. And that's just kind of how I view myself. I grew up in Linwood, so I am a true Snohomish County native, but I graduated from local high school, went to the University of Washington for my undergrad, but I also have a very adventurous spirit. And so I spent most of my 20s living overseas and teaching English, and that's where I met my husband, Andre. He is from Ukraine, actually it's the Crimean Peninsula, which maybe some of you know is now part of Russia. So that's, I was living in that, I feel, history, and have a very, I feel thankful that I have been able to live there to really understand the politics of all of that a little bit more. I don't understand it fully, but I do understand it more, having lived there and now being married to Andre. And so, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I have a lot of friends. I love to get together with them, go wine tasting. I love working out. I love sports. I'm so excited that yesterday my daughter, she made the A team in 8th grade for volleyball, and that was my favorite sport growing up. So that's so fun to see her just love that. And my other little daughter, she plays soccer and basketball too. So I got to coach her team last year too. So that's me.
Well, that was kind of leading into my next question. I was going to say, tell me a little bit about you as a mom. Like, how many kids do you have? What kind of things? Yeah. What is your momhood like?
My momhood. Well, I feel like, as all moms do, really, or most moms, the luckiest mom in the world, because my daughters are pretty fantastic, I think. Yeah. I have a 13-year-old daughter. She's in 8th grade, and I have a 10-year-old daughter who is in 5th grade. And they're just, I grew up with a brother and I always kind of wanted a sister. And I just love watching their little relationship and them navigate the sisterly complications that can come with that kind of relationship, but also see them like the real deep love there. That's even, they're young still, but you can see it, and you're just kind of I'm just really excited for where that may go in their lives. And I had told my husband, he was an only child, and when we were talking about maybe having another baby, because in my mind it was like a no-brainer, I'm going to have at least 2 kids. That was my dream, right? My hope. And he's an only child, and he's like, well, but why? And I'm like, well, she's going to need somebody when we die. And that was my argument. And she got a pretty good sibling, I think, for the rest of her life, each other's lives.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. So you were saying a little bit ago, I heard you say that you got to coach and that they both play sports. And
Yes.
things like that. Like what kind of like is your typical like momhood like weekday-ish type situation? Like
Mm-hmm.
what kind of things are you juggling, if you will?
Right. So because I have a more flexible schedule than my husband, I'm responsible for school drop off. We made the decision to have them attend a private school. A few years ago, we switched them to a private school, and we feel very fortunate that we're able to do that. But with that comes a little more complication of like getting them to and from school. So that's my main responsibility. And then volleyball, for example, is 5 days a week. So I am driving a lot of the time, one kid home only to come and turn around to go back and get the other kid, come back. And so I have to be very intentional with my time during the day, because I do work, and I work full time, and I am my own boss. At being a real estate agent, I'm not on a team. I am basically own my own business, and I'm running the whole show. And so in order to be successful at that or meet my goals, I do have to manage my time and be very intentional with it. And I've learned that includes intention with my family. So I have been really working hard on scheduling everything. We think, oh, I'm just going to schedule my appointments, whether they're doctor's appointments or work appointments with clients. But I'm like, no, actually, I need to schedule everything if I want to get it done.
So I have a question about that. When you
Mm-hmm.
say, first of all, I want to say that I friggin' love that because I also do that.
I think
I
we
also
all
do that, and
should.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel, and let me know if this is your feeling too. So when I do that, like at first, I remember at first I was like, I am not scheduling everything. Like
Right.
I was
I'm
anti-schedule
carefree.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm
I
not
go
hyper,
with the flow. Yeah, I was
type
like,
A.
not. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And then as things started to like more, more things started to happen, and just as you run your own business and all the things,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to do it, the feeling was way more like relaxed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I could fully focus like with my family. It was like, no, this
Mm-hmm.
is family. Like I have a cutoff time where I do
Yeah.
nothing about with my family after a certain
Yeah.
time, and I don't think about anything else, and I can be like fully present instead of the little list that we always get in our heads of like,
Yeah.
oh, I still have to do this, and oh, I got to email this person, and I got
Yeah.
to, text message that person. All that goes away.
Yeah. When you prioritize your time.
Yeah. And
No,
then, but I love how you said it because you said you're intentional with your time. To
mhm.
me, that is deeper than just scheduling your family time.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
like it
self-care,
yes.
like you
Yes.
said, and to be quite honest with you, this is a new thing for me. Because I am used to, and I think it's my nature, and I know that many moms are like this, is that you are all things to everybody except yourself. There's a lot of things that if you don't make the decision to, and really for whatever reason it is, I think a lot of times moms, there's the mom guilt. I know you've talked about it. We've talked about it, and it's in your books, like the guilt that comes with like, oh, if I just take time for myself, I'm taking time away from my income earning potential. I'm taking time away from my family. I'm taking time away from this and all these things. And there's that fear. That's really a fear-based decision. But what I've learned when I try to say yes to everything, I'm sacrificing everything at the same time. I'm really making major compromises with things that really matter to me when I don't create a boundary and set the intention for my time. So, for example, I get up anywhere between 5 or 5:30. I'm a little flexible with myself on that because that's an early time. But I want to make it to my 6 a.m. workout. And I honestly also have a 6 a.m. counseling appointment twice a week. One is for myself and one is for my husband and I. And that's to maintain our relationship, my mental health and our relational health. And then the rest of the days, it's a regimented workout, because I have found, like, more than likely, if I don't get it in the morning, I'm just a little more flexible with not getting it done that day. Right. And I'm like, no, that's really important to me as I age, to not just look good, but to maintain my health for my kids. Cause I want to see them play, their games in high school. I want to see them go off to college and see who they become if they go to college. I'm not saying that they have to, but whatever they choose to do as adults, like I want, like you said, to be present for that. And then in my work day, you're dealing as a real estate agent, we are dealing with people's homes, right? And their finances. And that can be really emotional for a lot of folks. And if they are choosing to hire me, they deserve my time. And it is so easy to be so accessible 24/7 with our cell phones and text messages and emails and all these things, that it's so easy to get distracted. And I'm like, no, I have a lunch meeting with this person. I am not going to be looking at my phone. And that's hard because, sometimes things are happening or whatever. I have to be available if my, school calls or whatever. But for the most part, I really want to try to put it away, because doesn't it feel so nice when somebody is not on their phone in front of you and really
100%.
giving you their time? And like, we started this podcast, I was like, okay, before I start, I want to send this text message to my client so that you and I can be present with each other. I can really be giving you meaningful answers to your questions, right? So that's a new thing for me to start doing. Otherwise, like you said, Shauna, you've always got a running list and you just never feel like you've accomplished anything. So it just helps you. It helps me by scheduling everything: dinner with the family, reading, even like if I have a goal to read a book, and Shauna and I do because we're in a book club together, schedule that time in your day. And it's, it's not selfish to do that because you're filling your cup so that when you go out and you do your work or you're with your kids, you feel more, just you have more energy. You feel good. You're not running the list in your mind of all the things you have to do.
All of that.
Mm-hmm.
I love all of that.
It's
You
a bit
said
of a
so
ramble
many things.
there.
Like there's so many things that I could tap into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I really like the point that you said about, the struggle with moms and the mom guilt and like the taking care of themselves. And, sometimes I think there's a little bit of a stigma with self-care as well. That it is selfish and whatnot. And it goes to more of doing something, right? Like the baths and it goes towards to something like that. But like self-care or taking care of self and filling yourself up, like you said, is being intentional with your time. That is a way to do that with your family and being there and being present, because you are also filling up your cup um by being with your family and like filling that part of you.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like it is definitely a hurdle for moms to feel okay with doing what is necessary for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you said, filling yourself up because of how it makes you feel um, when you are full, because nothing, not
Mm-hmm.
even people, but like nothing, machines, whatever, take your pick, runs on an empty tank. Like that
Right.
just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Something's gonna break. Something's gonna break
Mhm.
down. Something is gonna not work right, you know? And I think that
Yeah.
it's super
Something's gonna
important because
suffer.
for us, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't happen sometimes right away.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little bit of buildup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it will happen. So I just being intentional with your time is such a powerful message, because that alone can fill yourself up in ways without thinking the whole self-care thing, even though it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
right?
And you know
I'm
what?
so happy you shared
Being,
that.
being willing to say no. I am the queen of FOMO. I don't like to say no. Um, but I have learned some hard lessons is when you don't, then it's impossible to set intention when you can't say no. And you might find yourself in Shauna, my team's message just came up. You're still there, right? Darn, did we get
Still here.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Sorry, I gotta close that. Anyways, I'm getting interrupted. But when you're not able to say no, you can find yourself, like you said, in situations where you're gonna suffer, whether it be your health, whether it be your relationships, whether it be your work, quality of work that you do. And as moms, like, yeah, your relationships with your spouse or partner or friendships, or most importantly, your children. So that's been a hard lesson. I haven't always mastered that. I still haven't mastered that lesson, but I think when I take the time to slow down, stop and think, is there something in my gut that doesn't want to do that? Like sometimes you say yes to things, you're like, oh, I really, like, I feel resentful. Like you should probably, then you should have said no. Like, oh, I'm too tired. I don't really want to go to this, but I feel bad, right? You should just probably say no, because it just means you don't have the energy for it. And that is okay to say, because you want to come into things with excitement and, positivity, rather than, oh, I'm like, oh, this is too much. I'm too busy for this. Why am I doing this? Well, maybe because you shouldn't be doing it. Does that make
I love
sense?
that. No, it totally does. And I love that because um that's also another struggle that I call it like checking in, like taking a second and checking in, because you really should do that and respect yourself, because like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you are sacrificing yourself, which how I look at it as, if it's something that I should be saying no to, where I know because I can feel it in my gut, right?
You
That I should
feel it.
say no. I'm almost using twice the gas because
Yeah.
you go, you're already like, okay, this I shouldn't be going. So you go. And then now you're like going like almost like trudging through mud, like it's extra.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have to get through the thing. Sometimes it'll switch around and you end up having fun and it was a great time and it was fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes.
And,
But if you're
and
with great people and it's a great environment and situation, that's going to
yeah,
happen, right?
yeah.
I like how you said that it's super important to follow your gut because that is like a superpower that everybody has. And whether you want to listen to it is how your power gets bigger, right? So I think
Mhm.
that you just saying that and knowing when to say no also is a way of taking care of, you know,
Well, and I'll tell
yourself,
you,
your family, your people around
yeah,
you, everything. It's like
yeah,
super important just to take a second just to check in and
yeah.
do
I'll tell
those.
you, we as women are socialized to not say no from the time, from a very young age. I think we're not given license as much to say no. Um, and I think that's really important. And also at the same time, there are times when maybe you're feeling uncomfortable about something and you have to assess, well, why is that? Is it because I have fear, I feel like I'm gonna fail, or I feel like I'm not gonna be good at this, or like it's a confidence thing, then yeah, maybe push yourself a little bit. But if you're like, oh, like you said, like I'm tired, and yeah, always take some time to check in and be like, you know what? Or if you're like I said, like I fear I'm gonna miss out on opportunity, whether it be like, oh, they're not gonna, if I say no to this one event, they're not gonna invite me to the next one. That kind of thing. Be like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay to say no to that. Like, I think it's just important to always assess your motivation, because you got
Absolutely.
to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And you really shared some juicy tidbit bombs here.
Yeah, well, I think
Love
about
it.
these things, and I think about these things, yeah, because I mean, you know me a little bit personally, and you can find yourself in tangles, and then it's an emotional mind fuck. Can I say that?
Yes, it totally is. It's so true.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it really is.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. It's so true. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking before we started recording this. It's like your mind has many trenches and you never know which one you're gonna be in, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all of the things that we talked about today, what would you say that your superpower is, or one of them?
Yeah, well, I think my main superpower is I really am, I can connect with people rather quickly. I feel like, and I like to go deep. I do. I really like to go deep with people, and I feel like, I don't know what it is about me, but people are comfortable doing that with me, and I feel pretty humbled and grateful that people give me their space to do that, and they feel safe with me. I think there's something about me that makes me feel safe, and maybe it's my years of teaching. I also think it has to do a little bit with my background, like my upbringing, um, and it serves me really well in my business, but also in my relationships, because and again, these are people from all walks of life that I can say I've had some really deep connections with. And I feel thankful for that.
I really like everything that we talked about today, and I love that
Mhm.
superpower. So
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share or chat about before we go?
Well, here's a little plug. I mean, and I can't even take credit for it because it's something my office is doing. But I know a lot of like offices, Shauna, you probably know too, like we'll do like wellness challenge and I like that we call it a wellness challenge and not a weight loss challenge because that's not all it's about. But it's kind of fun that you've asked me to do this right in my inaugural week of doing this, because what we focus on is that we have checklists throughout the day, and it's broken down into mind wellness, body wellness, and then of course for us business wellness, and it could be job wellness or whatever, performance wellness in whatever you're choosing to do. And you don't hit all, some days you hit all those tasks, like there's little tasks in each category. For example, get a workout in for 30 minutes or more, you get points. 10,000 steps or more, points for your body. Not eating, more than 35 grams of sugar. Mind might be reading, being also, I think it's important to be intentional of what you take into your brain. Like, it's so easy to get on social media and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. And I think social media is great. I use it for my business, but I also use it to keep connected with people. But it's easy to get in the trenches there, right? And like maybe see like, oh, everybody else has such a great life. And just remember that social media is a marketing tool. Like, whether you really are using it to market your business, but people use it to market their lives, right? Nobody's going to show real life as it is, the ugliness of it on social media. Plus, I'm inundated with ads and stuff. So anyways, part of the mind piece is to limit social media use to less than 30 minutes a day and read like a nonfiction book that is going to edify me. Am I going to learn something here? Or listen to a podcast, mindset podcast, something that's going to add to me, not the news. Again, limit the news, because a lot of that is just fear mongering and negativity. I mean, it's important to be informed on what's going on in the world, but fact check your sources, right? Like, there's so much information out there that I think we get inundated with it, and it can really affect us negatively. So that's the mind piece. And then of course, for me, the business piece in my business is like connecting with people, or taking a continuing education class, doing a property review for somebody, things like that actions I can take that I know will get me results in my business. And so I think doing something like that, maybe not all the time, but having a checklist for yourself for your wellness is so important, because you don't want to have that checklist when you're in the hospital or you're at that doctor's office and you're maybe you have a mental break, like, or whatever it might be. That's a hard time to start having a checklist. It's a good time, but I think there's some things we can do preemptively to help us.
I like that.
Along the way. And that's not to say that we can't, I lean on mental health professionals all the time. I think that's, I thank God for them, but, and our health professionals like yourself, Shauna, but, I think sometimes you don't want it to be too late to start doing these things,
No, I do. I totally do. That's great. Can you email me a copy of that list? I would love
Sure.
to.
I'm going to ask, I didn't make it, so I'm going to ask the person who made it first, but I'm sure she's fine with
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm just curious on what it looks like. That would be really
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little plug for her, because she's my designated broker, and for those of you who don't know what that is, it means the owner of our real estate brokerage. She's not my boss, because again, I'm an independent contractor, but she is a leader and she takes on legal responsibility for everything I do. And my business is legally under her umbrella, right? And her office. But what is more is she really is a great coach. And so she has created this for us agents, because a lot of times when you do run your own business, whether it be whatever industry you're in, a lot of things can be sacrificed. Your health, your relationships, all these things, because you're working hard to be successful. And if you're of the mindset that if those things are intact, well, of course your business will be intact because you're able to give to it. So her name's Lena Mall at Windermere Real Estate North. I'm going to give her a little plug. And I'm sure she's going to be like, yeah, send that along. I think that's awesome. But I'm just going to.
Great. I would love it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. Like I am too a coach, and I have coaches as well. Like I think it's like, it's how you were saying with mental health professionals as well. I feel like everybody should have one to maintain, period, like your life. Like that's just how not when just bad shit's happening. Like you need to do it all the time. But I also feel like when you're doing things, when things are hard and you're in the trenches and you have all like the fear and the, the whole like, I mean, we could go totally into this, but that would be like a whole nother episode, but like fear of judgment, fear of what people are thinking, fear of how you feel about it to yourself, like all of that stuff. That's what coaches like can help you with, is like staying accountable.
Yeah, because they're an objective voice outside of your head, and I think that's because we're human beings built for relationship, and we're built for community. That's how we're made. And that is a part of community. There's a reason why you have elders in, communities and mentors. It's, to go to them because they have been through it, or they just, people come alongside you. So it's really important to lean into your community of friends, community of like-minded people, or, elders, whatever. I think it's so important, especially as moms, because we tend to isolate ourselves, or, you just get caught in the busyness of the day. And then you might find yourself in a tangle. And then you're like, oh,
gotta get out of that.
Gotta get out of that. You can. And there are people, and I don't think I've always been as willing to accept help. Like there are people, and help can just be from your peers. Help can be from the people that really care about you. You know who those people are. Just accepting it, it's an act of love to give that to somebody, and it's also an act of love to receive it from somebody.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we don't want to receive because we think we're what's the word? I'm losing my language here, but inconveniencing. We think we're inconveniencing somebody, but if somebody's offering, it's because they love you, right?
Yeah. That's your own internal, that's inside, right? That's your own internal mental battle. It's like, it's actually your problem. Like it's like my problem of thinking I'm inconveniencing because the person's obviously trying to help me.
Yeah, especially with somebody that has a relationship with you, like a good friend, or your partner, or whomever it might be that knows you really well. If they're offering to help you, that's not to say that some people don't manipulate and have strings attached with whatever they do, but I'm talking about like a good friend who just wants to be there for you, and hey, having a hard time, can I buy you dinner? Can I take the kids? Or can I so that you can go do this, or whatever it might be. I think, instead of thinking that you're inconveniencing them, just receive it. Receive that compliment that someone gives you. Like if somebody tells you that you're beautiful or that you look nice, isn't that funny that I don't know, I somehow learned to be like, oh no, like, no, accept the compliment and say thank you. That's what I'm always telling my daughters. I'm like, if somebody tells you you're beautiful, don't tell them that you're not, because then you call them a liar. Like, don't. Just say thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
it feel like that's a
receive
whole
it.
that's also a whole other trench in there where you get in the mind struggle of, oh, if I say like thank you, am I it's like it's the fear of judgment,
It's a
you know,
fear of looking to, like,
like
again,
like
we can talk
conceited,
about,
or I think
yeah,
too much of
I'm
myself, or
conceited, and that's,
selfishness, right? It
yeah,
goes back to like the self-care thing. It's like when people
yeah,
give you compliments, if you accept them, it seems selfish, or if I do self-care, it seems selfish because we've been groomed for so long to be,
yeah.
taking care of
How
all the things,
females
all
are
the people.
socialized, yeah, like,
Mhm.
"Oh, don't
Yeah,
look too confident because then you're gonna be, like, the conceited one." I mean, no. If somebody's paying me a compliment, I'm gonna receive it because that's them giving to me, you
yeah,
know? If I
absolutely.
walk around saying that I'm all high and mighty and I don't and it's annoying to people, then yeah, that's another thing. But if somebody's genuinely like, "Wow, I just think that outfit really looks amazing on you," say thank you. Mhm,
Yeah, I totally agree.
mhm.
Well, thank you so much for
You're
sharing all of this
welcome.
stuff and coming
Yeah.
and chatting with me. It was
Yeah,
really
this
fun
was
to do.
fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
I just
will.
appreciate every time we get to talk, like, we get to know each other better, and it's been
Oh,
such
yes.
a thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Hopefully, we will see each other soon as well.
I know, we gotta talk about that book. Have you read
Yes,
it?
we do. We do. Well, thank you for chatting with me.
Yeah. You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. I just want to say thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, learned something new, or got a juicy takeaway that will bring in that heck yeah back into your life. I release a new episode each week, so make sure to subscribe. If you love the show, want to share a story, comment below. If you know someone that would love or need this episode, be sure to share it with them. I'm sure they would love you for it. Tag me and find me on social media at Ignited Decisions on Instagram and Shauna with Ignited Decisions on Facebook. I would love to know what episode you listened to and how it helped you, as well as connect on social. Okay, mamas, claim your time and release your inner power.